Geek podcast. I'm your host tonight, Justin Sandoval, aka Sandy, and I am joined by Anthony Amato, who we like to call Shamato. That's right, our resident skipper, T-Roll, is not here. He has much better things to do, apparently, than commit to this podcast.
We really need to hire a truancy officer.
Dude, I don't know, man, how he gets away with this. He can't keep getting away with this.
No.
But anyway, you have us here tonight, and that's it. It's just both of us. There's no funny, clever lead-in to a third mystery host. Or is it? No, there's not. No. So it's just us two. So buckle up. There are no rules. Rules don't exist.
Nope.
And yeah, so all that in mind, all the listeners out there, we appreciate you guys so much for taking the time to listen to us. Go ahead and give us a like, follow, subscribe. Follow us on all of our socials at Royal Geek Pod. If you have any suggestions, feedback, or you want to join the discussion, you can DM us, or you could send an email to royalgeekpodcast@gmail.com. We would love to engage with you guys. Anyway, all that being said, you're probably reading the title of this episode, so you know we are going to be recapping Season 1 of Andor.
Yep.
Season 2 is right around the corner. We are in the month of Andor Season 2, the long-awaited.
For those who celebrate, which we do.
We do. We absolutely do. And Andor, man, we're just going to get into this here.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a spoiler warning needed, but hey, for all you people out there who have not seen Andor, first off, slap yourself in the face. Second off,
Get with the program.
here's your spoiler warning. First off, Shimano, overall, being able to talk about Andor again, how do you feel?
I mean, I think it's phenomenal to be able to dig back into the series. I do think it's interesting because we're going to be able to look at the whole series, whereas the last time that we reviewed it, it was episodic. So we didn't get to think about talk about the whole picture necessarily. It was just about that episode here and there. We didn't know what was going to be important necessarily always and when it wasn't going to be important. I do think it's interesting just thinking about how two of probably the best made properties by Star Wars since it's purchased by Disney have been these side stories that you're like, but why do we need this?
Right.
Like Rogue One, which we reviewed last week. If you haven't listened to that one, go back, listen to it. It was phenomenal. And then, of course, Andor, they're very much like, why do we need this? But they ended up being their best properties. Maybe Star Wars needs to be doing this a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, these quote unquote one-offs, because they don't. We know how Andor ends. It doesn't. There is no continuation.
No, there is no happy ending.
There is no happy ending here, and we knew this going into it. And even before the season 1 started, we were questioning what is going to come from this. We know where he ends up. So
Yes.
how can this be engaging, entertaining? And it ended up being some of the best Star Wars.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, that you can ask for, man. I think for me, the one thing that Andor really did was open up the world of Star Wars even more.
Yes.
I feel like we got a whole lot of. Well, we got some planet hopping, but I feel like we got a good look into. Besides the Senate hearings that we've gotten in the prequel series,
Yes.
we actually get individual cities, towns, government overseeing
Yes.
individual regions, quadrants, and all that kind of stuff. We kind of see the whole breakdown where we didn't really necessarily have that. Yes, we knew senates and they represented each a different area.
Yes.
But I feel like actually seeing a system in place,
Yeah.
either run by the Empire,
Yeah.
and then the outskirts as well.
It's kind of interesting because it was almost like Andor was essentially what Solo should have been. This idea of this this scrappy, nerf herder who's who will do what needs to be done, is kind of doing things on the edges of society, and kind of just trying to get things how they need to be. Has essentially, although he does things that are not right, he does the right thing a lot of the times, or tries to do the right thing a lot of the times as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and the way Andor starts off is, I mean, the first First, way we see Andor is him like walking in the alleys, like in the dark
Yes.
of whatever planet. I forget what planet it was. And he literally like shoots a guy point blank in the head after they try to jump him. Obviously, like
Yes.
I mean, they provoked him, but dude, that was ruthless. It was a cold blooded.
Yes. That scene was so like it created so much plot and story
Yeah.
just because of the fact that you immediately knew who Andor was, and it wasn't even the fact of the first dude he kills.
No,
It's the
yeah,
second
second
dude.
dude. Yeah, you're right.
That's the hard one. Is it's like you're just like, oh, all of a sudden, because like the guy is like pleading with him,
Yeah.
like as he's like I didn't see anything. Like we can figure this out.
He
Like
fell. The dude fell. Yeah.
yes, yeah,
No, yeah, that was so good, dude. And then only to lead where we started peeling back the layers of Andor, and
yes,
the first couple episodes are just kind of who he is, like where he came from, what he's all about, and we do see him interact with a motherly figure.
yes,
Her name again was
Marva,
Marva. Yep, and he does care for her. So like we see
yes,
this brutality of him mowing some people down in the alley, right? And then we see that he cares for this older woman who's taken him in, which we learned that is not actually his real mom. It's somebody who adopted him because he was
yes,
taken essentially, right? He was taken from his planet.
yes,
Um,
by them,
by them, and but he ends up becoming intertwined with Luthen because
yes.
he ends up finding a piece of a ship, right? Is it a piece of a ship?
Yeah, it's like a navigation piece.
Yeah, that goes for a lot of money that could sell
Yes,
well. And Bix, which shout out Bix. Hopefully we get a return of
yes.
Bix in season
Yeah,
two.
I really think so. I think
Yeah,
she will.
yeah, I hope so too. Because they just left the planet, like her and the two his two friends and then
Yes.
the droid. They all just like kind of left the planet, and so I don't know if they're gonna come back or interact. I think they should. But anyway, so Bix is known for like dealing with Luthen's character.
She's kind of like the intermediary for a lot of these people. She's kind of like that. She's kind of like the guy that gets you to the guy.
Yeah, she's a
You
broker.
know.
That's what she
Yes.
is.
Yes,
Yeah.
she is. So that's kind of her job. She's also a former lover of Andor,
Yes.
which
Yes.
is an important plot point, I believe, just because there's some tension there, and especially there's tension between Bix, her current boyfriend, and Andor that ends up playing out pretty strongly.
Yes, it does.
Ends up being essentially the entire reason why, you know, the Empire or that they know that where Andor is.
Yes, yes, exactly. And so she ends up hooking him up with Luthen and to do a trade off. But Luthen is there for so much more. He
Yes.
wanted to see Andor's skills. He wanted to see the way his mind worked. And Luthen's like, I got a job for you.
Yes.
And and initially he's like, it'll pay really well, like that kind of thing. Like like he's trying to get him to join his team,
Yes.
basically. To which Andor, who at this point in the story is all about trying to get money and get out and like
Yeah.
escape the Empire
Yeah.
in general.
He essentially just wants to be gone.
Yeah.
You know. And of course, he's played by the incomparable Stellan Skarsgård.
Oh yeah.
He just brings like so much gravitas. There's like immediately. Sometimes it really works well when you just have somebody who immediately, as soon as they're on the screen, you're like, okay, yeah, I get that.
Yeah, there's just a presence about Stellan Skarsgård that is just you can't replicate it. You really can't.
No.
And going back and recapping the season one and just I forgot that he does the wigs like when he puts on his quote unquote mask
Yes.
when he's intermingling with the higher ups. He puts on that wig with the long flowy hair, but
Yes.
then when he's dealing with the darker side of things and the underground things and all that kind of stuff, he's
Yes.
not wearing a wig.
It's
at
kind of like shortcut and to the point, and
all.
like kind of long, flowy, and pointless. It's kind of like it almost kind of fits character wise when
Yeah.
you put those two
Yeah.
names on it.
Exactly. So he recruits him for a heist.
Yes.
Luthen's character recruits Andor for a heist, and he takes him to a planet, drops him off where there's already some set people of this team who have been
Yes.
prepping for
A very long.
very long time to do a heist on Federal Reserve. I think is what
Yes.
it was, right?
Yeah. Essentially, it's a it's a place where they're holding
Mm.
that sector's payroll
Right.
for the
Okay. Yeah.
Empire.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. To pay the Empire, to pay all the people that are in
Yes.
there, and so they drop Andor there. And the one thing about this section leading up to the heist, I feel like we got a lot of character development, not only for this
Yes.
team, but you kind of you kind of got to see everybody's what is it, their belief system,
Yes. Their
their
motivation.
motivations in life, and the spotlight was quickly drawn to Andor on
Yes.
how what is his motives in life. Does he have a purpose or meaning, or
Yes.
what is he living by?
Is he just floating through life, just doing
Yeah.
things left and right?
And I remember going back and like recapping, I was just like, that did kind of take forever and long, but like if you really truly think about it, you learn so much more about Andor in that lead up
Yeah.
to the heist than you do like in the first 3 episodes or two
Yeah.
episodes.
I
Like,
mean, like a lot of the things, like you're thinking about, like Rogue One, like how he gets the conviction to do some of these things in Rogue
right,
One.
correct.
Like you're really getting to see the building blocks of that, and the conviction that he has, the willingness to be able to, for essentially throw away his life in Rogue One, is being built now. You
Right.
know, like he's starting to figure out his own beliefs, as you said, and his own like motives in life. And I think it was done really well in a way to like he was trying to like melt and morph into like their belief system
Right.
to try to like fit in, but by doing that he was also like you were saying, he was learning so much about himself.
Right, yeah, exactly. And so, along with that, they're going over the plans for the heist,
Yes.
and they are working together. They are trying to find the best possible way to get in and out of this facility, and they're putting their minds together. They are definitely taking a magic mind. You gotta admit. There's no way that they thought about this heist and did not take their mental performance shot. There's no way, dude. Magic Mind, it probably came in clutch here. Um, I know Magic Mind for me has been so clutch when it comes to being productive. So, for example, a little peek behind the curtain. There's a lot of editing that goes on in podcasts, and
Yes.
so there's some late nights, there's some early mornings, and this is just a lot of tedious like cuts and drags and all that kind of stuff. You could really lose focus if you don't have that little extra pep in your step that Magic Mind gives you. It truly is a mental performance shot that gives you that focus, the mental clarity, and honestly, like it helps us be more productive. Anthony, I know, I mean, with your work and job, like I know it's helped you.
Yes. Yeah. So a couple weeks ago, I was working, and to peel back the curtain just a little bit, I am currently 36. So, and I'm working a job, and there's some other people that do the same job as me, but there's two of them working on one side, and I'm working on my side, and they're 22 and 20. So they should be like, you know, booking it, busting it, and I had taken a Magic Mind that morning, and I found myself, even though there were two of them, they were significantly younger than me. I was catching up to them. I felt that energy. I felt that drive as I was going along, just being able to, just chug along, keep the whole day going. It really helped me get over that early morning like hill that you have to get over. And I was cruising, and I really feel like it was Magic Mind that was driving that engine inside of me to keep me up with those younglings.
Yeah, and you know what? A lot of that has to do with the work behind Magic Mind. Magic Mind does a great job because over 200 scientific studies have been behind every ingredient used in Magic Mind, and you can find that information on their website to even check and see the studies that they did. Another thing that is just has really drawn me to Magic Mind is that Magic Mind donates 5 cents for each bottle sold to a mental health charity charities to help the U.S. homeless communities, and you can't beat that, man. It's so good. Mental health is so important, and you really can't beat that. So if you like to get in on the action, we have a limited time offer for you. And you can use that to get up to 48% off your first subscription or 20% off a one time purchase with the code. You go to www.magicmind.com/RoyalLT20. And then at checkout, you put in the promo code RoyalLT20 to get that 48% off your first subscription or 20% off your one time purchase. Trust me, I'm telling you right now, once you try it and you start it, you'll feel a difference and it help you in ways that you really didn't think so. So, once again, go to www.magicmind.com/RoyalLT20 and at checkout, put your code in RoyalLT20 to claim your offer. So yeah, Magic Mind definitely helped them plan that heist because when they went
Yes.
in there, they had contingencies because their plan didn't go quite as planned.
No, did
They
not.
definitely planned those backouts, those backup plans, Plan B, C, D. It ended up being a gunfight.
Yes.
They ended up having to steal a ship. They got as much gold as they possibly could, and they booked it out of there. We do see one of our beloved characters that we learned to love get smashed by a pallet of gold freaking
Yes.
bars, which pretty intense, man. And what did you think about the high sequence?
I mean, I thought it was really cool, and they did a really good job of paying off what we had been essentially waiting on for about 2.5 episodes. And they really did a really good job of building tension, and there were a lot of moments where like you were kind of seeing like them on the brink, like. It could go well or it could fall off. Like when the one soldier just um, happens to trip onto their channel, and he ends up having to go try to stop Vel from and them from broadcasting.
Ooh,
And so
yeah.
like they were dealing with that kind of stuff, and then even the moments were simple when they were walking in and there was like this uncertainty about whether they were going to be able to actually get into the building. And they did a really good job of, like I said, about building tension and then just kind of releasing it all, and it just being this like it almost felt like the like there was a dam,
Yeah.
and they just kept on building water behind it, water behind it, water behind it, and then they just had a release, and it was just this powerful
Yeah.
like stream of just like it really had a really good feeling of just uncertainty and chaos as their plan broke down. You kind of like the idea of the old military saying of like no plan survives first contact
Right.
is kind of this, and you just see like just everything is just going and going and going, and they're just trying to survive. They're trying to
Yeah.
get their mission done and then try to survive afterwards.
Yeah, but the payoff is good though. The payoff's
Yes.
good. We end up getting the completion there, and they kind of go their own ways a little bit there. And Andor ends up in some hot water. He's on this Space Miami planet.
Yeah, I do want to go back for just a second.
Yeah.
Like you see a great moment of Andor for just a moment where you see him have to make one of his first real choices is he going to be with the rebellion, or is he going to be completely selfish in his own way? And that is when he knocks off the character of um, Arvel Skeen, and
Uh,
from Incomparable the Bear fame now.
yeah, that's right.
And so he has his opportunity with him to essentially betray the rest of the crew and knock off,
Run away with all the
yeah,
gold.
essentially run off with all the gold, splitting it with Skeen. He chooses to kill Skeen and give them all the money, and especially he only takes his share.
Yeah, that's right.
Like
Yes.
and then essentially as he's leaving, he gets Komet, who is a very young member, a very true believer of this. He gets his book, and then you really get to see like it's a great foundational piece in Andor's journey.
That's right. Yeah, the manifesto. That's right. And so Andor, he is on this Space Miami planet,
Yes.
and he ends up getting captured. He gets picked up and
By K2SO. Who knows?
maybe a unit for sure, K2 unit
Yes.
for sure. Um, and we then see transition over to him being in a prison
Yes.
planet ish, right? But like while this is all going on, we have Mon Mothra.
Yes.
She is a political figure at the moment. I'm not sure.
Yes.
Has she reached senatehood
I think
yet?
she is a
Okay.
senator.
Okay, so she's a senator, and she's kind of wheeling and dealing on her
Yes.
end. She's in cahoots with Luthen in some sort of fashion, which
Yes.
ends up
I think she's
unraveling.
like feeding him money.
Right, and yeah, because she ends up at like there's like the big reveal at the end that like she's been raising money, and she's trying to convince somebody else in power who's rich, who's like, it's actually for the rebellion, that kind of thing. And she actually ends up making a statement like, if people are annoyed with me because of my like political status, then their eyes are on me for the right reasons, like I'm because I'm able to hide what I'm actually doing
Yes.
behind the scenes. And so like she's just trying to gain money to fund a rebellion against the
Yes.
empire.
Yeah, she's a very interesting, like, she's playing a very interesting double agent role in a lot
Yes.
of ways.
Yeah, definitely interesting because she brings a lot of how should I say actual entertainment to some
Yeah.
pretty boring content. If you
Yeah,
ask
because
me.
I mean, it's essentially kind of, and honestly, it was kind of what like the prequel trilogy was missing, with like some political like intrigue, but you were
Yes.
actually like you actually cared about the political intrigue that she
Correct,
was going
exactly.
through.
And this could have been boring easily, and it could have
Yes.
been the worst part about it, but it ended up being really solid.
Yeah, it was
And
super solid, and you got to see, and it was a lot of it was the fact that she was constantly having to choose between whether she was going to protect her family
yeah,
or if she was going to protect the rebellion,
yes,
and
and
she essentially chooses the rebellion in the end.
yes, she does. And so yeah, there's a lot of intrigue and storyline that goes on there, and also happening at this time, we get some Empire
Yes,
business that's going on, and Daedra is a officer
yes,
who is looking into all of these coincidences that she's basically tracking Luthen. She's
yes.
onto Luthen and
She
his
doesn't.
she
Yeah,
doesn't know it's
yeah,
Luthen
she
yet,
doesn't know it's Luthen.
but
Yeah.
she's onto his little cell,
Yes.
organized cell of what's going on, and she is trying to figure out what's going on, and she ends up coming across what's his name again?
Cyril.
Yeah, Cyril. That's right. Cyril, who likes to eat cereal with his mom. That's
Yes,
that's one
yeah,
way to remember.
who was a part of the original group that they broke out with Luthen, and then because of that, because it was a failure,
He got
he ends
demoted.
up
Yep.
getting he straight up gets fired, is what happens,
Oh yeah,
and then they use his mom
yeah.
uses a back door with
His
his
uncle, right?
uncle, and he ends up doing this very very boring like data entry looking job.
Yeah. It's the most space Italian thing I've ever seen in my life. But it is, yeah, calling your uncle for favor,
Yeah,
that kind of thing. But anyway, so yeah, it's a boring job, but he ends up coming across some data that uncovers Andor's
yes,
whereabouts, or at least Andor in general, right? It's flagging. He ends up searching Andor so much where
yes,
it flags for Daedra to come down and essentially have a conversation with him about what happened.
yeah,
So anyway, so they're creeping in, they're coming in on Andor, and now Andor here, he is on this prison ship
yes,
on this planet, and they're building, they're like
yes,
assembling
something.
pieces. Yeah, we don't know at the time what they're doing, but they're assembling pieces, and this is where I think the story just takes a complete like turn for me of going from a really good show to an epic
Yeah,
like
I mean Andy Circus.
yes.
Like
Oh my
so
goodness.
phenomenal.
He does a great job here as the lead for their
Yes.
floor,
Yes.
and he's motivational. He does a
Yes.
really good job. He's a good leader, right?
He's trying to protect them.
He's trying to not only is he trying to protect them, but he's also trying to serve his time to where he can be released. And they're talking
Yes.
about people being released, and eventually they catch wind that somebody was released from floor 4
Yes.
only to be found on floor 2. And so
Yes. So
they're
they
not
killed
actually
everybody on floor 2.
yes, they're not actually getting
Release.
released. And so that is what sparks this
Yeah. It really
time to rise.
because before this circus was kind of like although he was sympathetic to what Andor was trying to, push out about potential prison breaks,
Right.
but he was very much like, no, I want to keep, I want you to be safe. I want you to be alive. I want you to get home. And that's how I think he felt. I think he essentially took on the responsibility that as the captain of the floor, as he almost saw them as like his children.
Yeah.
His job was it was partially to get himself home, but it was also he wanted to see each one of those men that was with him,
Make it
that was
out.
under him, get out as well. And of course, when he finds out about this situation, a switch goes off in his mind because all of a sudden he's like, I'm not keeping them safe anymore by having them just follow quotas.
Right.
That isn't what's happening anymore. I'm not going to get out. They're not going to get out. So like he's like, well, what is the best thing I can do as a leader? Once again, he chooses the leader option, and it's like we need to get out.
Right, and he works with Andor on a plan to try to get out. They scope the place out. How many guards on every floor? Roughly about 12.
Yeah.
And they end up getting to the control room, and I think Andy Serkis's speech that he gives in the control room is some of the best like monologue
It's
speech
phenomenal.
dialogue that you can possibly have. Like it is well written. He delivers it with so much passion, and I mean, dude, one way out, man.
Yeah.
We got this. And they storm through. They take out all the guards. They make their way to the door, which is a drop all the way to the ocean.
Yes.
And which Andy Serkis's character cannot swim,
Yes,
unfortunately.
which I think is one of like it is a phenomenal scene.
It is.
Once again, it leads back into it was him as a leader. He
Right.
was always the leader. He was always wanting to get his men out. Because I think from the very beginning, because from the first moment Andor gets there, they land right in that bay. They can see the water. They know the water is there.
Oh yeah.
So I think Andy Serkis knew the whole time that he could only get them to there.
Yeah.
So it was his last sacrifice for his men, knowing that he would be able to get them to somewhere. He's essentially like the line from Avengers, where Red Skull is like, "I lead people where I cannot go." Like that type of idea, and that I think that's what kind of like was that last moment for him.
Yeah, no, that's good, man. Holy smokes! And so, yeah, Andor ends up getting out, and we don't know what happens to Andy Serkis' character. Will he make a return? I highly doubt it. I'm gonna go ahead and say I don't think we see that character ever again.
I wouldn't be surprised if he
Yeah.
never shows up again.
Yeah, but it was a phenomenal.
Oh, it was
one off.
amazing.
Yeah, and then so anyway, Andor ends up escaping, and he catches word that his mom is not doing well.
Yes.
Or she's passed away, right? Like or I think it's not doing well first.
I think so. I think that's that, and then he's kind of like struggling with whether he should go back or
Correct,
not.
yeah. And I believe he makes contact with Luthen again at this point, right? Is that what happened? Or that's not until
I
later?
think it was a Bix
Oh, Bix. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
because that's how Bix gets
Yes,
caught.
That's right. Yeah. Good.
Yes.
See, we're recapping ourselves here, so that's
Yes,
good.
yes.
So yes, he makes contact with Bix, and that ends up leading to Bix being interrogated.
Yes, it's pretty roughly. It was
Yeah.
pretty, you really get to see the underside of the Empire.
Yes. But Andor ends up making his journey back to see Marva, but by the time he gets there, it's too late. She's
Yes.
already passed away, and he is now in full like, I need to get my people out of here. Like,
Yeah.
my people only.
Yes,
Like, that's what
yes.
his mindset is at the time.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's crazy because there's all these people converging on the planet now because everyone knows his mother Marva has passed away.
Yes.
So you got all these different entities that are coming to get him. You got Didra. You have Luthen sends Cinta to essentially kill him.
Yeah.
Or was it Vel? He sends one of the.
Yeah,
It might be both of
I
them.
think.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, so they send them there because at this moment, Luthen is at this point where essentially Andor has turned him down.
He's a loose end.
Yes, and he's a loose end that if he isn't a part of the rebellion, he needs to go.
Yes, correct.
And then, of course, I said Deirdre is there, and then Cyril is also coming, has found his way there, as well as the actual Empire has found its way there as well.
Yeah.
So there's all these things closing in on Andor.
Right, and then at this point, it seems like there's no way out for him, and we learn that Marva is a very like prominent character in the community.
Yes.
She is gets a parade, right?
Yes.
And at the end of this parade, she ends up releasing a hologram to
Yes.
speak to the people and speak to Andor directly, essentially, right?
Yes.
About an uprising,
Yes.
about oppression, about being under the Empire's thumb
Yes.
and breaking free from the chains. And it ends up motivating Andor. It ends up motivating the entire
Everyone.
town, and a literal
Yes.
war breaks out.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. Like
Yeah.
honestly, there are 3 phenomenal monologues in this series that are just like top tier in my opinion. Like it is that Andy Serkis monologue, Marva's monologue, and then Luthen's monologue are all just, great pieces of, singular character
Yeah.
dialogue.
Oh man. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. And it ends up speaking to Andor directly. He ends up getting a fire ignited in him, and
Yes.
he ends up meeting up with Bix. I completely forget the name of his friend, the big dude, the big muscular dude. Uh,
It's Bosa maybe or Brasso.
Something, yeah, something
Yeah.
along those lines. Not, don't know for sure. Sorry, guys. But yeah, so he ends up meeting with them, and then I think somebody else. There's I forget the other person, but anyway,
Yeah. Is
the
it Melshi?
oh yeah, it might
Or
be.
was it Mel or did Melshi leave him earlier?
Melchi left him at the
Yeah. Okay.
escape of their prison, I think.
Yeah, it's Brasso.
Okay, there you go. So anyway, he gets them to a ship, and he says, "You guys get
Is
out
it
of here."
Cinta? Maybe?
It might be Cinta.
Yeah.
He ends up getting them to the ship, and he says, "You guys leave without me. Get safe. I have something else to do." And he ends up meeting up with Luthen,
Yes.
and he basically is like, "I'm in."
He gives his life. He basically lays his life.
Yeah.
He's like, you can end my life
Hmm.
or you can take me in.
Yeah. And the smirk slash smile that Luthen gives at the end, like
It's phenomenal.
it is so good. It's so telling, and it's done so well, and it actually like you feel the rebellion that Star Wars Episode 4 New Hope was talking about. You feel all of that
Yeah.
that sense of hope, that sense of
Yes.
there will be more. We're not over yet, that kind
Yes.
of thing. You feel all of that in that final scene. And dude, Andor season 2, there's gonna be a lot of time skips, is what I'm
Yeah,
told.
that's what it seems like.
And the release schedule is quite interesting. The release schedule is going to be 3 episodes for the next, like every week for the next 4 weeks.
Yep.
Once
Buckle up.
yeah. So here's the thing: Andor season 2, Shamato. How? What are your expectations going into this? What are your expectations for season 2?
So I unlike season 1, which I didn't really know what I was getting into. Honestly, if I'm being telling the truth, I didn't know what I was getting into. I have really high expectations about what this is. And I think a lot of it's going to be is sort of answering the one line a line that was in Rogue One. So there's a line when they are about to join um, um, Jin,
Yeah.
where he's like, the things that I've done for this rebellion.
Ooh.
Like, I think that's essentially what season 2 is going to be.
Him
is-
doing
is
things.
him doing things.
Hottest take ever.
Yeah, like,
No, I'm just
yeah.
kidding.
I think it's a very cold take, actually. Like, honestly, if we're looking
Andor
at it,
does things in season
yes.
2.
But like, I think it's going to be
How
about the
meaningful and
different,
impactful they are.
like the things that he had to do to help build this rebellion.
Yeah.
Like, some of the stuff that he does may be dirty.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be like he may have to do things that we are going to look at him and we might be a little disgusted with him. I think in a way, like I think he's going to be fully in. He's going to be.
Yeah.
He might be knocking off government officials. He might be knocking off innocent people. He might be stealing from the poor.
Yeah.
Like I could see there being a lot of things that he does that could be seen as regretful.
We're going to get development of Andor's character from where he ends up in season 1, right? And there's going to be some sort of events that take place that leads him to his introduction into Rogue One,
Yes.
where he literally kills an informant because he's too skittish. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna be, it's gonna be. Well, yes, we saw the ruthlessness in Andor season 1. We did see him have that with the point blank shot to the head. We did see that, but for the cause, for
Yes.
him to get in the mindset to where nothing else matters but this cause,
Yeah.
he's going to get there. We will get to K2SO apparently in
Yeah.
this, which is going to
Yes,
be
which is gonna be
fantastic.
phenomenal. It'll be really, really interesting how he's introduced and how it ends up going.
Yeah.
And it will be like you were saying. I think he'll go from ruthless to
Mhm.
ruthless with the cause.
Yeah, yeah.
Ruthless with a purpose. I think is what will happen, and I could see it being something like I don't know, like it would be interesting to see how he meets K2SO. Is it going to be something like he's going to catch K2SO off guard and like he'll shoot him, and then because of that, like K2SO will
Mm.
be able to be reprogrammed, and whatever may happen with that.
Or is one of Luthen's mission to acquire a K2 unit so they can infiltrate something?
Yeah, I mean that very well could be
Yeah.
something along those lines.
Yeah.
It could be he could have been like protecting an officer, and then something happens.
And I actually am looking forward to some of the subplots as well. I think that we do need to see some more from Mon Mothra as
Yes,
well.
yeah.
Uh,
I think it'll be really interesting with her. Like, she left her relationship with her husband is very strained,
right,
and her relationship with her daughter is extremely painfully strained.
right. Because that could easily be fixed by just telling her that she's
Yes.
part of leading the rebellion.
Yes,
Like that's literally like it solves everything.
Yeah, that's what seems that's the part that's so painful about it is like her daughter wants her to be the person that she really is.
Yes, correct.
But she doesn't know that she is that person, which is that is the heartbreaking part about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do think we're going to see some more like backdoor dealings and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But the thing I'm most interested in for coming into season 2 is more Luthen, man. I think
Yes.
that this is going to be an incredible. It's gonna be a swan song for him because I don't think he's making it out of this alive. To be honest with you, I feel like there's no way
I
he
think
makes it
there's
out alive.
I think him getting out of it alive wouldn't make a whole lot of sense.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
then it's like, why wasn't he in Rogue One?
Right.
Also, they kind of already have like a big figure
Mm-hmm.
built in, where in the rebellion world and Saul Guerrera. So I
Correct,
mean,
yeah.
like I think by the end of season 2, maybe there's been a power struggle within the rebellion, something like that happens.
Yeah.
Maybe we get a Saul Guerrera sighting at some point.
I think we're going to. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like we have to, because he is very pivotal to the rebellion. He, even so much so where he's like, when they talk about him in Rogue One, he's like, they say he's more of an extremist.
Yes,
and
yes.
so
Well, which would be interesting to see. Maybe one of the missions is something that like he makes him the extremist.
yeah, there you
Like
go.
maybe
Yeah, that's
he's
good.
more like in line with the traditional rebellion vibe, and then like maybe they don't go far enough in
Yeah.
something, and someone in the rebellion gets hurt
Yeah,
or someone dies, and then so that pushes him to the fringes.
that's good, man. I think all this talking about Andor and our Rogue One review has really like set the tone for rolling into season 2, man.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about this. I cannot wait to review this. And for all the listeners out there, it's a 3-episode drop. We're gonna do 3 episodes at one time review.
Yes.
So if you can't hang with us, that I understand. Watch the 3 episodes, then come back and listen to our
Yeah.
review. But we are going to, as it's released weekly, we are going to review all the episodes that are released at one time. And so we will give that warning ahead of time if you guys are not able to keep up. But pause it or come back and listen to it after you've watched the 3 episodes. But we got you taken care of here. We are going to fully review these episodes and have some fun with it too. So, T-Roll, we didn't need you. Suck it.
Yep.
Shamato, thank you so much, brother, for all your insight. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much to Magic Mind. You guys need to check them out. And once again, you need to go to www.magicmind.com/RoyalLT20 and enter promo code Royal LT20 to claim your 48% off your first subscription or 20% off your one-time purchase. So, definitely check out our friends at Magic Mind. All right. All that being said, for Anthony Amato and myself, we would like to welcome you back next time. We will see you next time, you peasants.